Hey everybody, this is Tom with Item Shop. I'm sorry, with the Item Shop. Sorry. I'm new here. Anyway, so today I'm taking apart a Sega Genesis Model 2. I picked this one up off of Facebook along with a handful of games, and actually I got an N64, an Xbox 360 still in the box. Not new, but complete in box. And this Sega Genesis Model 2, and some Sega games. One of them was actually Contra Hardcore, whatever. I recently sold that one on eBay, and it sold pretty quick, and I was pretty happy. But anyway, so today I'm tearing apart this Sega Genesis because it was pretty crusty, and I wanted to get it totally taken down and put back together, and, well, torn apart, cleaned it all up, soap and water, all that fun stuff. And yeah, I already tested it and everything's working fine on it. I just noticed it was kind of crusty. So but anyway, so yeah, I got it all taken apart pretty much, and it was pretty straightforward. I'd never done a Sega before, so I'm just kind of blindly going through this. But it was kind of interesting. I bought this from a guy who is a youth group leader at a church, and he said they bought this, and I think the N64 and the 360, all three of them, new for the youth group. So, you know, it's, I would imagine has been used quite a bit, but I don't know. I could see a bunch of youth group kids playing, but the weird thing is, I don't know. I'm going to bundle this with Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 on the Genesis. 2 and 3 being complete in box, but 1 is just loose. It was weird because they came with those games. They don't really seem like youth group type of games, but anyway. But yeah, so the board looked really nice. I didn't expect there to be any issues after I tested it because everything worked well. Like I said, it was just kind of a little cruddy, had some gunk on it. But I did not show me washing this because I don't want to set a camera up in my kitchen and all that stuff. But this is all has been cleaned with soap, water, scrubbed down with a toothbrush, all that fun stuff. But so everything looks way nicer. And I'm just gonna put the board back in here, kind of having some issues. The controller ports, it's like you kind of had to start them at an angle and then lay the board down, and it fits in pretty easily. Now, the board has that red cover. I think that's where you would attach like a, forgive me, I don't know a lot about Segas, but like a 32X thing, maybe? Or like some sort of addition to the console? I don't really know. I was a Nintendo kid, so I don't know. Don't know anything about this. I took that off because it wasn't quite sitting right, and I was afraid I missed some screws on the motherboard, but I didn't. I was just being kind of silly. The screws I was thinking of hold the flappers into the top for when you put the games in, so I saw those extra 4 screws sitting, and I thought, well, I've done messed something up. But I didn't, so that's cool. But yeah, the console was pretty straightforward. I was kind of worried about the flappers giving me issues, just because I know there's like springs and hinges and stuff, but that whole unit came off in one piece, so it was actually not an issue at all to take it off. So I'm just checking here to make sure there's nothing wrong. Yeah, okay, I think this... No, okay, yeah, I thought that's when I realized I had the wrong pieces, but I did not have the wrong pieces in. The screws are actually left over for this part here. And, yeah. So I get this put back on. Everything went smooth. I was kind of pleased because I watched a couple guys on YouTube take some of these apart. They seem really simple. These older consoles typically do. I had the last thing I took apart before this was an Xbox One controller. It was actually mine. It was a Day 1 edition. And the design is kind of silly, I think. I'm just putting the buttons in there. But yeah, with the Xbox One console, or I'm sorry, controller, you have to like desolder the rumble packs to truly get it taken apart all the way, and that is beyond my abilities. So I didn't get too far with that. So it was kind of a nice change to have an old console that I could just kind of take it apart. Everything's pretty much what I expected. So some of these screws felt a little bit odd going in, like I was crossing the threads, so I would back them out and then just kind of reset the screw and try again. Because the last thing you want to do is force it in. So yeah, there's the console. Oh yeah, okay, so these controllers were kind of a pain. Nothing really super crazy, other than the screws were really grimy, the tops of them. So a bunch of sweaty youth group kid hands, I guess, from years back playing this have built up over time. But I discovered while doing this, there's two, I think 3 different variants of Genesis controller. These both are 3-button ones, and apparently there's like multiple types of 3-button ones. Like they all function the same, but from what I understand, some were made in like China, some were made in Malaysia, and maybe somewhere else. But either way, they all have very subtle differences as to how they're assembled. Like this one has got a D-pad, and it has a 2-piece thing, like that white piece you can see on the right. My hand's covering it now because I need to practice centering up for my videos. But yeah, the D-pad didn't want to come out, so I had to look up how to do it on my iPad because I didn't want to force it and break it. I was pretty sure I knew, like, just kind of had to brute force it, but I also didn't want to break this, so I watched this video, and in the video the guy explains that there's a couple different ways to do it, and it ended up just being that I needed to put a small piece in that little hole and just squeeze it, and then it would push the D-pad off. But in his video, he had one with a white back, like I just showed there with the D-pad, and his had a screw in it, and you take the screw out and it just falls apart. So I thought, well, that's weird. Has someone opened this and, you know, not put the screw back in? Answer was no. It was just a different variant from what he had. The one that he had to push off with the tool was not the white color, it was a black one, so I don't know. And also, I just showed there really quick, sorry I sped this up too much maybe. The threads on the screws for the first controller were really small, really fine threads. The second controller are big old fat threads. And then obviously the D-pad just kind of falls out of that one, which was nice because nobody wants to have that issue. But that's that for the controllers. Oh, and I'm showing here the the channel. I don't think I showed it very well, but yeah, I'll put it in the description because it was very helpful for this particular project. So yeah, I already went ahead and washed all these. Same thing, soap, water, toothbrush. I just noticed in some of the really small like creases, there was just a little bit of gunk left. So, and I'm just gonna clean the contacts here, just with alcohol. 99% is what I happen to be using today. I always think it's kind of, I don't know. Whenever I watch people work on consoles and stuff, I always get the feeling like they like when they use tweezers to take screws out, I always think it's like, okay, do you really need to use tweezers, or is it just like a way to show how surgical and precise you're being? But shame on me, because I was thinking they were, trying to show just how technical and precise they were, when in reality, I had to use tweezers to take some screws out on this one. Same with the, whenever they use the alcohol, they always seem to say, oh, it's isopropyl alcohol. It's like, yeah. I mean, I guess that's just what it's called. I always just called it alcohol. But anyway, shame on me. So everybody has different ways of saying it and doing stuff. As long as it all works in the end, it's fine. Yeah, so that wrapped up the first controller. We got it put together pretty well. Everything went smooth once I, figured out the D-pad situation. But yeah, so this console and both controllers and Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, 2 and 3 being complete in box and 1 being loose, will be available on my eBay store Just search the item shop Tom. It should come up there. But yeah, if you guys want to pop by and buy it, that'd be cool. I'm not real sure what I'm going to ask yet. I'm just kind of feeling it out. I haven't made a ton of sales yet. But yeah, I really need to focus on getting my stuff centered up when I'm doing this. Yeah, and same with the buttons here, just a little bit more gunk in there. I couldn't quite get with the toothbrush, so the alcohol and the old Q-tip really got it cleaned out. Oh, and I was a little bit leery of doing this on the D-pad because I had a 360 D-pad I was cleaning way back in the day, and the alcohol I was using somehow just like ate the plastic away. I was like, ah. So I was a little bit nervous, but nothing got torn up or anything. Oh, and I was afraid too that I put alcohol on those contact pads, but I read online that it's actually not harmful to do that, so I was sweating it for a little bit, but yeah. So yeah, everything got put back together, everything's tested, it all works. But yeah, and the games all work also. I started to record me taking the games apart and cleaning up the contacts, and my camera battery died about halfway through it, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna re-record me cleaning games that were already cleaned, so I just kind of left those parts out. But rest assured, it has all been tested, it all works, all that fun stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it for this one. So if you guys couldn't tell, this was my very first video I've made on this channel. So yeah, I am a video game reseller. Sorry if that makes you upset, but you know, it is what it is. I try to, you know, not just, I've seen a lot of resellers who are like, oh, buy low, sell high. That's the point. But like, I don't know, they just kind of seem like they don't care about the stuff. They just buy and sell as quick as they can. They don't take the time to look at it, make sure it works. Or they'll say, oh, it's refurbished. And that just means they took a can of air and blew the dust out of the vent. So I don't know. Oh, and here I am cleaning off the screw heads. They were crazy grimy. I couldn't believe it. As far deep as they set inside the controller, and then it's just like, ooh, dude. Gross. But anyway, had to clean those off. But anyway, yeah. So, you know, if you see my stuff on eBay, just know that it's been thoroughly tested, taken apart, cleaned out. I'm going to be making videos because I have a lot of consoles to do, like 360s and PS3s, PS4s. I don't do repairs. I'm not skilled in that way, but I do take everything apart, clean it thoroughly, and yeah. But anyway, I'll leave all the links in the description, and yeah, thanks a lot. Like, subscribe, all that fun junk, and check out the eBay store. Thanks. Bye.